Welcome to another week on the couch, Dan and Dane. And today we're going to talk about, is it better to have capital growth or rental yield? Which one should you be going for? What do you reckon, big fella?
Can I sit on the fence and be like, both?
Yeah.
No, I'd love to. And I mean, at the end of the day, I suppose my answer kind of is both from my perspective. And I look at it going, well, what do I need in my portfolio? It's all well and good to sit there and say, hey, I've got heaps of cash flow on my first property, but it's not, your cash flow is not going to let you leverage into the next property from a deposit and cost perspective, right? Versus
exactly.
if you go the capital growth route first and it goes boom and you get an extra $100,000 worth of capital growth in there, then all of a sudden you've got the hardest bit, in my opinion, the deposit and cost to go ahead into the next property. But now maybe when you're talking about the second property, you're talking about a different element. So it's how it fits into your portfolio.
Yeah.
But geez, I love capital growth. At the end of the day, making cash is pretty good.
Absolutely. And like you brought up a good thing just there, like having properties that work together. You know, sometimes it is difficult to get one that has a great combination of capital growth and rental yield.
Yeah.
You might be looking at one or the other and you're like, well, I had to go with that. And now I'm not getting the other one. But maybe the next property we can look at, hey, we're going to maximize that one to complement the first property. However, the other big one is where you are yourself, right? So when you're working, you can carry that debt. If you are having a property that's very capital growth focused, each year that it's growing, you're not paying tax on that capital growth, right? Yeah. So it's good when you sit there and go, well, I can carry that mortgage at the moment and that's okay. But as you move into the back end of your investing life cycle, you are looking at that cash flow property.
Putting meals on the table.
Yeah, someone's got to pay for the bread and milk. But there is a trap with this. Don't fall for, hey, well, I'm going to go out the back of Warwick and get a plethora of $400,000 properties or chinchilla and shit like that because they cash flow. Because if they're cheap today, I guarantee you 10 years, they'll still be regarded as cheap. And you don't want to be a slumdog millionaire with all the shit boxes out there. Because the other thing is, yes, they make cash flow, okay, but they're not really projecting your overall growth, right? Yeah. Where you have that, hey, what my net worth will be, what I can leverage and go into higher, valued assets and so on and so forth, because you can fuck yourself up if you do that.
Absolutely. Okay? And I mean, those secondhand properties, those older properties out the back of Chinchilla, they're also going to be maintenance intensive. You probably buy it and 5 years later, you're putting a whole new roof on there. There you go. There's another 40 grand out the back door. Yep. So you've got to be really cautious of the right type of property that you're buying when you are chasing that cash flow as well. Don't just read the glossy brochures and be like, yes, that's the one for me. Because a lot of the time there's some pitfalls coming your way as well.
Absolutely. All right. That's it for this week. See you next week.